Agricultural subsidies are an important factor in the imbalance in international agricultural markets. So although Africa has one of the lowest costs of production of agricultural commodities in the world, it loses competitiveness in the international market because wealthier countries subsidize their farmers, sometimes to the extent that the selling price of crops is lower than the production cost. That is the reality of cotton farmers in West Africa, for instance. The United States, the world's largest cotton producer, paid its own cotton farmers almost $33 billion to grow their crops between 1995 and 2012. US farmers are subsidized so that they can produce more cotton than would otherwise be produced, and that has the impact of lowering the global price of cotton. Members of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development spent a total of $258 billion subsidizing agriculture in 2013. As a consequence, wealthy nations inflate their agricultural outputs to an artificial level, and frequently they flood the commodities market and push prices down. Now, this creates an unfair competitive environment in the global market, where the most affected, and they are negatively affected, are the small farmers in the poorest countries, where government subsidies are non-existent. Since more than 1/3 of the GDP of most African countries is directly linked to the agricultural sector, these countries may be even more vulnerable to the effects of these subsidies. They generate an indirect impact on reducing the income available to invest in rural infrastructure such as health, such as safe water, such as electricity for rural communities. And farmers are struggling to survive. And in that struggle to survive, many of them migrate from rural to urban areas in search of economic opportunities. So an important milestone on abolishing subsidies was achieved at the World Trade Organization when they met in December 2015. Developed countries have committed to remove export subsidies immediately on agricultural products, except for a handful of them. And they will do this by 2018. Developing countries will also keep the flexibility to cover marketing and transport costs for agricultural exports until the end of 2023. And the poorest and food importing countries will enjoy additional time to cut export subsidies beyond that. The decision contains disciplines and interventions that hope to reduce the impact of agricultural subsidies on African farmers.